handprint, rock art, my handprint up there. When I was real small, it's about that big.
Joshua Hunter knows this land. For 3 generations, his family have been rangers in top-end national parks.
Green plum. Some languages, they call it moyi, but in Jawan, we call it goromo. On the tree, you can't tell, but if you give the tree a kick, and there's some ripe ones. All this area unique, and Kakadu is also the same.
There's one site in Kakadu that has a special significance to Joshua, the spectacular Gunlom Falls.
I love Gunlom, so as a kid, I've caught about over 1,000 barras out of the Gunlom pool, so it'll always be home to me.
In 2019, the site was closed. A new walkway had just been constructed to help visitors reach the top of the falls more safely. Traditional owners supported a track, but not the route it took, right past a highly sensitive sacred site that local Aboriginal culture says should only be used by men in certain circumstances.
I was one of the senior traditional owners that gave directions how the trail would be. They went against those directions and built the trail the way they wanted it.
In early 2020, park management revealed the reason behind the closure was an allegation of damage to the site's heritage.
Can you also comment on why Gunlom is closed and when that will be anticipated to open?
We understand there's been a complaint or complaints made by at least one or more traditional owners about some of the work that's been done.
So the site, Kalawaria, has a lot of significance to Aboriginal culture.
In the Northern Territory, we've got some of the strongest protections for Aboriginal sacred sites in the country.
The NT's Sacred Site Watchdog, the Aboriginal Areas Protection Authority, investigated the potential breach and made the decision to prosecute Parks Australia, a federal agency, for the very first time.
The fact that it's gone this far is really due to the reluctance of the Commonwealth to accept accountability for what has occurred.
Late last year, Parks Australia successfully argued in the NT Supreme Court that as a Commonwealth agency, it was immune from the territory laws.
The significance of the area dates back to ancient times. I'm a descendant from that line that looks after these sacred sites, and it's my duty as a senior traditional owner to maintain our authority on looking after these sacred places for our future generations, our children, our grandchildren. Native bees, they make their honey, make their nests, make their honey in these trees.
Joshua is about to travel to Canberra with a group of other custodians. They'll be watching as the full bench of the High Court weighs up an appeal on whether the Commonwealth is immune to the Territory's sacred site laws or not.
I recently, came out of ceremony, so for me it's very serious.
It means a lot to them.
With Joshua on his way, Bobby Nungal Majbar will be watching on from his home in the Territory. He's the chair of the Sacred Site Watchdog's Aboriginal Board. He hopes the traditional owners will be able to learn from the case and bring their understanding back to their people.
And make sure that they are listening and they are really strong. That's what they're going for.
The outcome of a High Court case will have widespread ramifications for the protection of sacred sites.
Custodians have travelled to Canberra over the weekend to sit in on the 2-day case.
It's a beautiful feeling to be here. It's been very long, the process. We've got only a little bit of fuel left, so being here is just the final part of it. Just a fair decision, that's all we want.
The legal arguments over whether the Commonwealth does have immunity or not are pretty arcane. And though the hearings have now wrapped up in Canberra, the justices aren't expected to deliver their verdict until the new year. If the sacred site watchdog does win, it could have major ramifications for Kakadu, and for Uluru too, because it's also managed with the Commonwealth. In the meantime, not far from here, the falls remain closed. But the track has now been moved, and there are hopes that a reopening may not be far away.
We admire the new walkway, and when Gunlom does open, it'd be a beautiful step to come to grips that our sacred sites are looked after, but also our visitors can still come and visit, still experience Gunlom at its best.
This entire legal battle could have been avoided had Parks Australia requested an authority certificate from the Sacred Sites watchdog before carrying out any construction work back in 2019, something it didn't do. In a statement to 7:30, Parks said it had obtained a certificate for the new realignment of the track and that its director will continue working closely with traditional owners of Kakadu National Park to restore relationships.
When we heal our country, heal our sacred sites, we heal, and that's what we want.